Good morning. I'm First Warn 5 Meteorologist Mike Nicco. Most of the rain this morning fell on the Missouri side. So if you were in Kansas, you're like, what was all the hoopla about? Well, we're not out of it yet. We still have more rain on the way, and this next round could be even stronger with severe capabilities thrown into it. So that's what we're going to be dealing with as we get deeper into this forecast. So let me get it pulled up here for you and give you an idea of exactly what we're going to be dealing with, because that threat does include a low-end threat of severe weather. Honestly, a small tornado threat in there also. And that's something that's definitely changed since what we saw this time yesterday. And I still think, even with that being such a low threat, it's something we have to keep in the back of our mind for later on if you're going to be out and about, because this will happen during the more likely the evening hours. All right, it's a small chance. We'll get to that. First, let's talk about what's going on right now. And look at that, some good news on the radar. Definitely seeing a drying trend across most of our neighborhoods. However, you can see coming up 35 and also near the turnpike, we've got another batch of thunderstorms. But notice they're not very strong. There's some yellow, there's a little bit of orange in there, and that's also an area that didn't receive much rain out of last night's / this morning's storms. So the places like Olathe, Shawnee, down towards maybe Lawrence and DeSoto, Baldwin City, all those areas, you can handle the rain. You can see right here for the 24-hour totals easily where the heaviest amount was right across the border, and why we've had some flooding there, which I'll also talk about. It's a little bit of that's ongoing. But here's the good news. Look at the last 3 hours. Hardly any rain, just about anywhere, unless you're down near Drexel. And I'm not seeing too much in the way of flooding there. So that's the trend for the next several hours. And that will last into the afternoon hours for the most part, save that batch of showers that's trying to move up into our southwest neighborhoods right now. So let's take a quick look at some of the rainfall totals. Oh, jumped right through there a little bit quickly. And what you're going to notice, a lot of 4 to 5 inch totals. Kansas City in the Missouri side, we're looking at about 4 1/4. Lake City, you can see there, almost 5 inches. Buckner, more than 5. Belton, almost 4 3/4. KCI tied a record yesterday. Lee Summit, Excelsior Springs. Then you go to Overland Park and Parkville. Not too bad. Carrollton, you're not going to see it on here because your totals just came in. You're winning with 7.2 inches of rain. Look at Olathe and Shawnee, areas that flooded last time, areas that received anywhere from 9 to almost a foot of wet weather. Not even an inch this time, and that's why you can still handle some more before we have some flooding. Here, the flooding right now in some of these areas, we're peaking, like right now, the Blue River. That is peaking at about 35 feet. And you're noticing a lot of orange and red as these will peak later on today, even into tomorrow afternoon. Stranger Creek between near Easton and Kansas. What that means when you have orange and red is trails, parking lots, roads that are next to these creeks and rivers that are flooding, possibly even water into people's yards, but not likely to their houses. So if you live anywhere near these, the worst of it's just about over, or it's peaking right now and it's going to subside just a little bit. It all depends on how much rain we get tonight, whether we see this re-aggravated or not. So while you were sleeping, the Weather Service saw what we're seeing, that next round is coming in, and they extended the flood watch. Those areas you see highlighted in white, you're now under a flood watch until 4 o'clock in the morning. That means that next round is going to come in tonight and cause more flooding that could last until about 4 o'clock in the morning. So let's move on and show you the potential. 40%. A couple of things I want you to notice. The storm track has moved just a little bit to the northwest, now encompassing more of St. Joe, Atchison, Leavenworth, Lawrence, Bonner Springs, that area, Tonganoxie. Okay, where you're in the yellow, that's a 15% chance. So there's still that chance, and then that 15, that's where most of the rain fell this morning. So it's actually going to take less rainfall for you to deal with flooding than possibly that area in the 40% that didn't receive quite as much. The key is everywhere saturated right now. So any type of rain that falls at least at an inch per hour is going to cause some flooding. So here's a look at your storm chances. They are tapering quickly as we head through the morning hours. Most of the day is going to be quiet. You know, the sun may break out a little bit. If that does, then that just aggravates the situation later today because that puts more energy in the atmosphere. And at 5 o'clock on, we've got a 40 to 50% chance of those storms. So let's try to place them for you. Let's get you prepared for where these could possibly land. Here you're looking at some light showers possible, just seeing shades of green. That's good. That's light rain. When you start to see yellow to orange, that's moderate. And then red and magenta, that's heavy downpours and even some hail. So let's see if we see any of that. And sure enough, look at that. Right in the metro at 7 o'clock this evening, right when we want to head out for our Friday evening activities, there's the possibility of a strong to severe thunderstorm rolling through the metro. Again, with all parameters on the table. Wind will be the greatest threat, followed by hail, and of course that low-end tornado risk. And the reason why low-end tornado risk, we actually have what's called a positive vorticity advection. It's an area where the atmosphere spins, and that could create a smaller spin within that thunderstorm. So that's what we're going to keep an eye on. And from about 7 to midnight is when we have our best chance. And notice that next round is heading more up towards Atchison and St. Joe and Maryville, Tarkio and Bethany. So that would aggravate your situation even more so. And if it heads to the northwest of Kansas City, fingers crossed, that means we only have to deal with that round that comes in at 7 o'clock and the heavy rain and possibility of severe weather that we're seeing right now. So here's a look at, as we head towards Saturday morning at 7 o'clock, we're looking at pretty much nothing. There's a slight chance we may have some storms Saturday, but a lot of that is looking like it'll be farther to the east, so we can get that boundary to move over more into central and north central Missouri, and that's where you would be seeing that. So let's talk about the potential rainfall, and I think this model may be doing a little underdone until you look up at, you know, Maryville and Missouri near 4 inches, St. Joe, Atchison near 2 inches. I think it's definitely underdoing it for those of us along the I-35 corridor. I think our rainfall amounts are going to be around 1 inch to 2 inches, and that's why we're under that 40% chance of some flooding. So for the next 3 days, this is our first warned weather day for more of those storms coming in. It's going to be a cool day today, 83. How about that? Tomorrow the sun comes out, clouds open up. We've got about 89, and then dry and hot. First warned for even warmer temperatures by Sunday. No chance of rain, but the humidity will be out there because of all the moisture that's in the ground. That means heat index values will be around 105 to 110. Wouldn't be surprised if Luke upgrades that, or maybe I may upgrade it when we get to the midday show and put in a first warm weather day if the heat index value is going to be 105. Plus, we know a lot of us are going to be out all day that day. All right, this go around, the heat is going to peak Monday and Tuesday, and that could be it for the heat wave. We've got storms on Wednesday, and then 82 with some storms possible on Thursday. So that's what we're looking at right now. If you're just joining us, want to get you prepared. We've got more storms on the way. That's why the flood watch continues until 4 o'clock for all those areas you see outlined in the white. Rainfall tapering right now, residual effects of it. We still have some minor creek and stream flooding, and that is going to taper as we head through the afternoon hours, except for Stranger Creek there around Easton between Tonganoxie and Leavenworth. You have the best chance. This rain rolling in right now, let's take a look at that. Let's see if I can get some rainfall rates on this. That's one of the neat things about the radar. If I stop it right here, do a little pixel query, it's going to tell me the rainfall rate is 15 hundredths per hour. Okay, that's not flooding. That's not going to aggravate the situation whatsoever. So I'm not really worried too much about this storm and what it's going to do, especially for those areas it's traveling through that haven't received much in the way of wet weather. Kind of back it out a little bit here, and you don't even see the next round developing yet. Let me back this out again. And so It's not like we can see it right now and it's tangible. We can say, all right, there it is, and here it comes. But you see a little bit of a curl in the atmosphere. Let's see if you can see it down here. Just a little bit. See how the storms and haze are moving more a little bit northeast to southwest, while the storms up 35 are moving southwest to northeast. And that means we've got a little twist in the atmosphere sitting, I'd say, right about over Dodge City. And that is what's going to come in. And it's going to go right this way. This is what's going to come in later on in the afternoon and evening hours and bring us our storms. So we'll definitely see them because they're going to develop just to our west, and we'll be able to track them and give you a definitive time frame and also a definitive look at what they're producing and what they're likely to produce as they get closer to your neighborhood. So enjoy the downtime right now. If you have any errands to run, great, go out and do them. The streets are wet. Not hearing of any flooding anymore. I see Teddy's asking, is I-70 westbound from Independence clear, or is water flooding over it? Last I looked, Teddy, it is clear. There is no flooding that I know of on there. Let me check real quick. Got so many sources of information here. Let me take a look at what the Weather Service is saying right now. Stranger Creek and Potter is currently 16.85. Let you know if you live around that. Independence rain gauge had about 2.25 to 4.25. Okay, I'm not seeing anything about any roads being impassable right now. I know there are a few out there, but right now it looks like okay. So that's some good news. So I hope you appreciate that, Teddy. Anybody else, you know, if you want, I'm looking at the comments and we've got a few of them, but you know, that was one of the biggest questions, what's underwater right now, and not much is, other than around those areas that I mentioned. In those areas, in case you're just joining us, let me go through this one more time. And you can see right there, Blue River, Stranger Creek, Little Blue River, that is near Lee Summit. Big Creek is up near, Crooked River is up near Richmond. Big Creek's down closer to Belton, and Blue River is closer to Independence, I believe. So that's where we're seeing the flooding right now, not necessarily on many major arteries. In fact, I saw a lot of green on the traffic map most of the morning. Now, either you're like, I'm not coming into work, or I'm going to wait till this passes, which was a brilliant move on your part. And everybody appreciates that. We still had about 8 freshwater rescues, though, by people that were out and about. So remember, it's just so easy. Just find an alternate route. If you can't see the road through the water, then it's probably too deep to drive through. Okay, especially with electric cars. You definitely don't want to do that. All right. Looks like the Weather Service just issued a flood warning, possibly for parts of Johnson County in Kansas till noon. Let me double check that. That came across, but I don't see them mentioning it on their thread anywhere in here. So what I can do is we've got these set up. And here, let's go through what we have right now. So it looks like they extended this one, possibly for that rain coming in, even though I showed you it's not very heavy. I'm just not taking any chances after what's happened Monday and last Thursday. So that flood warning, let's see why they did this. Train weather spotters reporting heavy rain in the warned area due to thunderstorms. That was at 8:14, so that was a while ago. Flooding ongoing or expected between 2.5 inches of rain to fall in. This will, so it's just for what's coming in now, even though we talked about it's not very heavy, they're not taking any chances with that storm coming in and flooding that area. All right, let's take a look at the other one over in the Missouri side. And that's a flood warning until 12 p.m. also for those counties for the same reason. There's still some ongoing flooding. left over from this morning. So that's what we're looking at. I think for the most part, we're doing okay, but as we talked about some of those areas, like somebody just said Crooked River over Highway D is flooded near Lawson. Yep, no doubt. That's what we highlighted, and what we'll continue to highlight are those areas around these three particular Blue River, Stranger Creek, Little Blue River, Crooked River, and Big Creek. So any of the low-lying highways or roads around these areas, parking lots, trails, yards from homes, those are going to be underwater. So that's what we want to keep an eye on for the next couple of hours. So that flood warning extended till noon for the possibility of flooding. It showed you radar. It didn't look very impressive. The rainfall rates weren't very heavy. Err on the side of the caution. Why not? It's just safer that way anyway. Just stay away from those areas that may flood in those particular counties and those sections that were highlighted in green. All right, I'm going to wrap it up here and just let you know that we're going to be here. Melissa and I are going to be here, and then Warren and Luke will be in here for the next round during the afternoon and evening hours. And of course, I'll be on the show today at midday, and coming up on My KC Live, Melissa will have an update there too. So we're going to cover you on every platform we can as often as we can, especially when changes come, and they will come rapidly, especially later on today. So thanks for stopping in. Appreciate you. Hope we took care of you. If not, shoot me a message on Facebook and I'll answer your question anytime. So have a good day.